Hello students, welcome you all. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on sickle cell anemia. Before that we will see that what is anemia. Anemia is there is a lack of hemoglobin or lack of blood, or there is an extreme loss of blood, then this condition is called as anemia. Now in anemia there are major three types of anemia are there: macrocytic anemia, normocytic anemia and microcytic anemia. These types are classified on the basis of size of the RBCs. When in anemic condition, if the size of RBC is getting larger or RBC size is getting enlarged, then it is known as macrocytic anemia. If the size is remaining normal, then it is called as normocytic anemia, and if the RBC size is getting decreased, then it is called as microcytic anemia. Here, sickle cell anemia is a type of microcytic anemia in which the size of the RBC is getting decreased and different. Okay. This size of anemia getting decreased is due to the genetic anomaly. Genetic anomaly is a genetic defect. Now, sickle cell anemia is actually a part of sickle cell syndrome. Sickle cell syndrome is also known as sickle cell disease. Sickle cell anemia is a part of it or type of it. Sickle cell syndrome is widely prevalent in the disease which are having the hemoglobinopathy. Hemoglobinopathy means there is a defective production or abnormal production or abnormal structure of hemoglobin is there, then it is called as hemoglobinopathy. In this hemoglobinopathy, the sickle cell syndrome is very prevalent. Here in sickle cell syndrome, there is the presence of sickled hemoglobin, means the hemoglobin structure is getting sickled, means sickle shape. Due to that, the RBC also get the shape like sickle, means like half moon shape. This sickling means the development of RBC which are of sickle shape is called as sickling. This sickling in RBC is seen on the exposure to low oxygen level. Now here the three different forms of sickle cell syndrome are there. Firstly, as heterozygous state. For this sickle hemoglobin is known as sickle cell trait. Sickle cell trait contains the symptoms. These sickle cell trait are not having all the symptoms of sickle cell anemia, but having lesser extent or no symptoms of sickle cell anemia. But there is presence of the genetic material which are of sickle hemoglobin. As second state is as homozygous state for sickle cell anemia. Okay, that HbS is known as sickle cell anemia. Okay, here in this both the gene are defective and both are containing the sickled hemoglobin genetic material, and that's why they are known as homozygous. The third one is as double heterozygous state, in which the different types of anemia are there, which is known as sickle thalassemia, sickle cell C disease, sickle cell D disease, like that. Now we are here going to see about the sickle cell anemia, that is the homozygous state of the HbS, that is the hemoglobin S, means sickled hemoglobin. Sickle hemoglobin come from inheritance from each parent. In trait, only from one parent. Trait means heterozygous, means only one parent is containing. But here homozygous means inheritance is from each parent is there. In heterozygous inheritance, HbS can be compounded with the another mutations also, in which they can contain the sickle cell hemoglobin C disease also, sickle cell beta thalassemia also, like that in hetero compounded one. But here the sickle cell anemia is homozygous state of HbS, means inheritance comes from the each parent. Now in normal one, the hemoglobin, when there is a normal hemoglobin, it contains the 4 peptide chains. Polypeptide chains are in 4 numbers. Okay. Among them, the 2 are the alpha chains, while the 2 are the beta chain. Means in normal hemoglobin, there is the presence of 2 alpha chain and 2 beta chain simply. Now, in sickle cell anemia, what happens? In the beta polypeptide chain, there is seen a biochemical defect. Which biochemical defect? In beta polypeptide chain, on the 6th position, the glutamic acid being replaced by the valine. Okay, and this exchange means the presence of valine in state of glutamic acid develops the sickled hemoglobin. Now this sickled hemoglobin causes the sickling of hemoglobin molecule. If there is a change in this substitution, means at 6th position, if there is a substitution of lysine in place of glutamic acid, then there is the development of HbC, means hemoglobin C. If there is the change at 121 position for the glutamic acid, then there is the development of HbD. Here the replacement is done by glutamine for glutamic acid. Now, when there is the substitution of lysine for glutamic acid at 26th position, then it develops the HbE. Here, in all this type, alpha chain remains the same as HbA, means normal. Only the difference is in beta polypeptide chain. Now, in HbSS, means in sickle cell anemia, the most common form of sickle cell disease. Okay, this occurs due to the inheritance from the both maternal and paternal beta globin alleles. Okay, now what is the pattern of this inheritance? Okay, the probability of inheritance, we can see here that if the both parents are trait, then 25% chances of in children are of being normal, then 50% chances are of being trait, and 25% chances are of being anemic patient. Okay, so this is what the probability of inheritance from parents to children. Now here you can see the different types of possibilities that if the parent is normal, one parent is a normal and one parent is a trait, then 50-50 chances are of normal and being trait, means 50% chances are of being normal and 50% chances are of being trait. Then if the one parent is sickle cell anemia, means one is positive and another is sickle cell trait, then there is the 50% chances of being trait and 50% chances of being sickle cell anemic patient. If the one parent is being deceased, SS means deceased, AA means normal, this is the type of hemoglobin which are present. Okay, so it is denoted like that. So if the parent is, one parent is sickle cell anemic and the another parent is sickle cell negative, means normal one, then there are the 100% chances of being trait. So this is what the probabilities of inheritance. Now, what is the pathophysiology? Next we are going to see is pathophysiology of sickle cell anemia. Firstly, we will see that the normal adult RBC contains the HbA, that is up to 96 to 98%, HbA2 is up to 2 to 3%, and the fetal hemoglobin, means the hemoglobin which is present at the time of fetus development, is called as fetal hemoglobin, that is less than 1% in adult. Okay, and with this hemoglobin content, the RBCs are of biconcave shape. Now when the RBC are in normal shape, means in biconcave shape, there is a they are able to deform, to squeeze through the capillaries. When the capillaries are very smaller, at a time these RBC deform themselves and they squeeze themselves to pass through it. Okay, but in SDD there is a sickled shape of RBC is formed, due to which they are not able to squeeze through it, and that's why they cause the impaired circulation. Further, these can cause the destruction of RBC also. More than that, the slowing of the blood flow is also seen because of the sludging, because of the increased viscosity. There is seen the slowing of the blood flow also. Okay, now due to these are all the changes, or this all the changes are due to two major reasons, that is the abnormal hemoglobin and another is membrane damage. Now how this happens, what is the main mechanism behind this, how this happens? So let's see the main pathogenesis behind that. In sickle cell anemia, if we see the hemoglobin material, that is HbAs, HbS, okay, means the hemoglobin, sickled hemoglobin is there. Now this sickled hemoglobin is having the normal solubility as like HbA. HbA means normal hemoglobin. Both are having the normal solubility in normal oxygenated condition. When there is the proper supply of oxygen is there, when proper condition of oxygenation is there, then these both are having the proper solubility. But due to substitution of valine in place of glutamic acid increases the hydrophobicity, and the solubility of HbS is thus reduced in case of deoxygenated condition. In oxygenated condition, no problem. But in deoxygenated condition, what happened? The solubility of HbS is decreased, means sickle hemoglobin do not get proper solubilized in deoxygenated condition. Now this leads to the saturation of deoxy HbS, and this leads to intermolecular binding, and thus they form the thin bundles of the fibers, okay, which are initially unstable. However, the increased binding of this deoxy HbS eventually results in the cross-linked fibers and stable polymers. What happens? From unstable to stable polymers are formed. Okay. Now this process is influenced by MCHC, temperature, intracellular pH, and the amount of HbS. Okay. All these factors influence this process, that how these stable polymers are formed. Now, this polymerization allows the deoxygenated hemoglobin molecules to exist as the semi-solid gel. How? Semi-solid gel. Now, this semi-solid gel can protrudes into the cell membrane of RBC. Okay. Now, what happens? These hemoglobin, which are not solubilized and get saturated, they form the polymers, stable polymers, and this polymerization allows this deoxygenated hemoglobin to exist in what? Semi-solid gel, and these semi-solid gel are able to protrude into the cell membrane of RBC. Now when they protrude into the cell wall of the RBC, they lead to the distortion of RBC, means they produce the shape of RBC like sickle. Okay. Now when there is the distortion of RBC, means the RBC are converted into the sickled shape, they lost their deformability. Okay. Now what happens into this? Firstly, before that, see the whole procedure like this, whatever I have explained here, how this polymerization happens and how this exists into the semi-solid gel. Now what happens the next? This sickle shape RBC, when get oxygenated, on reoxygenated, they gets into the normal shape again. Okay, and again on deoxygenated condition, they again convert into the sickle. So this sickling unsickling procedure continues. Now this process continues like sickling unsickling. Now this cycle of sickling and unsickling damage to the cell membrane of the RBC. Now due to this damage, the membrane flexibility is lost. Further, there is the rearrangement of surface phospholipids is also seen. Further, there is seen the alteration in ion exchange also. Now this alteration cause the formation of stable sickled shape RBCs, which are not able to again reform into the normal shape on reoxygenation, or they are not able to deform themselves in the microcirculation. So at entering of the microcirculation or branching of circulation, there is seen that sludging of the RBCs, of sickle shape RBCs, which do not allow the flow forward. Okay, so there is seen the blockage of the blood circulation. Now such type of sickled shape of RBC are easily destructed into the intravascular space. Further, during this process of sickling and unsickling, this repetition process also lead to some of the cell fragmentation. So some of the RBCs are destroyed during this sickling unsickling process also. Further, this also damages the cell membrane and promotes the recognition of macrophages. Now the lifespan of the sickled RBCs is only 10 to 20 days. Okay, as compared to the normal RBC, it is very less or 10% only, because the normal RBCs are having the lifespan of 100 to 120 days. Now, as we have seen that there is this sickling or sickled RBC cause the blockage of blood flow. So, if this obstruction of blood flow to spleen is there, then that cause the asplenia condition. Asplenia means what? That is the loss of splenic function. Okay, with an intact spleen. So there will be the loss of function into the spleen. Now, when there is the asplenia, the patient prone more for the or more susceptible to the infection. Further, this also cause the coagulation abnormalities in the sickle cell disease patient. Now, next is the clinical features of sickle cell anemia. In sickle cell trait, there are seen some of the painless hematuria. Hematuria means blood in urine. The HB level is seen normal, but the heavy exercise under the extreme condition can provoke these gross hematuria and get complicated. In sickle cell anemia, there is the pain episodes are also seen, and microvasculature disruptions of organs like spleen, liver, bone marrow, kidney, brain and lung are seen. Gallstone, priapism are also. In HBC, the painless hematuria is seen. Some of the rare cases of aseptic necrosis of bone and the pain episodes are seen in later life of the patient. Okay, now we are going to see the complications that occurs into the patient with the sickle cell anemia. Firstly, we will be seeing the acute complications. What are the acute complications? That involve the fever and infection that in patient with or due to asplenia. Okay, some of the neurological abnormalities are also occurs that in both adults and children. Acute chest syndrome can be seen that leads to the death also in some patient. Next is priapism, that is the sickling into the sinusoid of the penis, and due to that there is the sustained and painful erection that can last for the several days or several hours. Sickle cell crisis, that is chronic hemolytic anemia can be seen. Aplastic crisis can be seen, which can be recognized by the decrease in a reticulocyte count. Now, another are some of the chronic complications. In chronic complications, the sickle cell anemic patient are having the variety of chronic problems involving the multiple organs. These problems are like pulmonary hypertension, aseptic necrosis with particularly in the femoral and humeral heads, which cause the permanent disability or damage. Next is ocular problem that's seen in the patient with sickle cell disease, which includes the monoocular blindness or some of the visual field defects. Renal complications can also occur as chronic complications in patient with sickle cell disease. And depression is more common in patient with sickle cell anemic. Now we will see the treatment aspect. The first one is immunization and health maintenance. Second one is penicillin, which can be given as a infection fighter with the patient in the patient with the asplenia especially. Folic acid can be given as a supplement to increase the hemoglobin formation. Some of the hemoglobin inducers are given, which fetal hemoglobin inducers are given. And another is transfusion therapy, which can be given into the patient with severe anemic patient which are having the severity in sickle anemia. So this is what about the treatment aspect of sickle cell anemia. Thank you everyone.